Hello there, Capricorn. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the month of May, and I am breaking May down into two different segments this time. And so we're looking at May the 1st through the 15th for the first half of this video, and then after that we'll look at May the 16th through the 31st. So let's put some cards down and see what comes up for you, Capricorns. Alrighty, cards are on the table. Let's take a peek. First thing that we have coming up talks to me about your environment. Now, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. For most people, it's home, but it's not always home. So you want to sort of have an open mind about where this could be. And so what's going on here is it looks to me like there's something happening in your environment where things have been handled in an inappropriate way, and now that is being made right again. That's what I'm coming up with. That's what it feels like. It looks like where something's been handled inappropriately, that is being turned around and made right again. It's being brought into integrity again after all. Next thing that we're looking at, Capricorn, does talk to me about your subconscious leanings. Now, when I'm looking at your subconscious leanings, it looks to me like you are you're really in your subconscious. You have a lot of different things going on. You have a lot of different ideas at play. And you're actually, it's strange because normally we don't see this in the subconscious as much as we see this in conscious life. But what I'm seeing here is that your subconscious, you're kind of scattered. You're kind of all over the place. Your subconscious even is having a hard time just settling down and focusing on an idea and coming up with a solution to help you move forward. So really scattered energy for that subconscious. I can't say I've ever seen that in a reading before with a person or for a group. Let's see. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. I do think that you have a few specific things that you are very interested in finding out more about, whether that's through formal learning or your own personal research. And I do think that one of those things, you're finding out a lot of information. You've got a couple other topics where the information is a little bit harder to get to. As far as communication, I think that you are pretty much very sunny, very outgoing, very happy in your communications. I do feel like there's going to be some new people that you're communicating with during this time frame, and I don't see a whole lot of communication with them, but I do see regular communication with them. Okay. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about work. And work is kind of, so the words that Spirit is putting into my head as I'm looking at this card is more of the same. Work is more of the same. I really don't see any big changes happening here. Everything is pretty much staying static or status quo. All right. Next thing that I'm looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. And I'm talking to Capricorns. This is interesting because I feel like what's going on is you are learning how to control your emotions, how to rein in your emotions so that you're not wearing your heart on your sleeve. So you're reining in your emotions is where we're seeing you growing and expanding right now. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about something that you stand for. And then we're going to look at how somebody sees you after you have stood up for this thing. So generally, this is something that somebody has said to you, I don't understand why you're doing this. Can you give me an explanation? Or they have actually out and out confronted you about this. So it looks like there's been a major shakeup in your life or a major wake-up call in your life that made you really have to redo some things or look at how you were doing some things and figure out, okay, where do I go from here? Do I want to rebuild what just got knocked around, or do I want to just walk away from that rubble and start something completely new? And so as somebody is confronting you about your reaction to this, after you get done communicating with them about that, they see you as somebody who is very committed to keeping traditions going and to really being authentic with yourself. And so they're seeing you as you have a committed path that you're following, and they are definitely taking note of that. Now, next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about that that lesson or that experience that you're going through as you go through this time frame. And it looks to me like you are in a situation where you feel like it's just time that you just have to cut somebody out of your life. And so, blocking them, no longer communicating with them, no longer answering text messages, no longer taking their calls. For those of you that have a person that you would really, really, really like to do that, but you can't, I see you really taking that down to a minimum. Say if you're co-parenting, only talking with that other person about things that relate to the kids. Only. Only. But for a lot of you, this is completely cutting off communication with somebody in your life where you can. Now, as this is going on, it looks like there is something happening where you're spending a lot of energy or a lot of finances, one or the other. And I think that some of you, that energy may be translating as feelings, that you may be really sharing your feelings with somebody. And for some of you, this may be a judge or at a court, something that is legal. So some of you may be literally going to court for a, what do they call that? What do you call that when you get a court order that tells somebody that they can't be near you anymore? That's what I'm thinking of. Whatever that word is, and I think it's different in different places. Maybe that's why I'm having a hard time thinking about what it is. But anyway, I think you're getting, some of you are getting a court restriction to have somebody no longer be in your space and in your influence. For others of you, this could just be that you're actually informing this person that, you know what, I am no longer going to be communicating with you. Or like I said, if you're in a situation where you have to talk to this person, where you're co-parenting or you're co-partners, of a business or whatever, I think you're going to be letting this person know straight up, you know what, the only thing I'm going to talk to you about are those things that we have to talk to each other about. So if you are not legally getting some kind of order for somebody, protective order, if you're not legally getting a protective order from somebody, I do think that you are going to be informing somebody that you don't want to hear from them again, and that you're not going to be responding to any messages from them again. Now, when we get to the end of this time frame, Capricorn, what I see is that you're really juggling, and I think this probably has to do with finances, that this situation may have taken more finances than what you would normally be spending in your usual budget. And so now you're trying to play catch up when it comes to finances. If this isn't the reason why you're trying to play catch up, I do feel like there's something that is falling through the cracks when it comes to finances once we get to the middle of May. Okay, so that's what I've got for the first half of the month, Capricorn. Let me go ahead and take a break, let my voice sort of get strong again, and then I'll come back and we'll look at the next part of May. See you real soon. Thank you for being here. And we're back, Capricorn. This time we are looking at May the 16th through the 30th for you. We're going to do a spread just like we did before. Thank you very much for being here and for putting thumbs ups on this video. Thank you also for sharing this video with someone else who may find it beneficial as well. And of course, thank you to those of you who catch me live and do the super chats and who just catch me live. Thank you also to those of you who order private readings, private Reiki sessions. All of you guys' support is what helps me to keep on doing what I love to do for my living. So thank you very, very much. Okay. All right, so cards are down, Capricorn. Let's take a peek, starting with your environment. Environment, remember, is any place you have energy or effort invested. And what I'm seeing coming up here is that there is some new information coming up about your environment that basically makes a lot of things make sense. All kinds of pieces of the puzzle start falling together when you find out that new information. The next thing that we have showing up talks to me about your subconscious leanings. It looks to me like you're really thinking about either some of the communication that you've had with somebody recently that's been really snappy, quick back and forth communication, or the communication that you want to have with somebody, and you may be planning exactly how you're going to word things whenever you get to have that communication. Next thing I'm looking at does talk to me about, first of all, learning style, and secondly, communication style. I do feel like whatever it is that you are focused on learning or finding out more about during, during this point of the month, I think you're cutting right through to that information. There are no delays, there are no blockages. You're able to cut right through to the truth very quickly. Now, as far as your communication style during this time frame, I do feel like there's somebody in your experience that you communicate quite a bit with, and I feel like that communication is going to be very stiff and very formal, maybe even a little bit awkward for some of you. I think that you're going to be trying to, be civil and be nice, but I think there is going to be a certain amount of awkwardness and a certain amount of stiffness. Like this just doesn't feel, you're not enjoying this communication with somebody. I do feel like there are other people that you're communicating with, of course, during this time frame, and some of those people are very easy to, definitely very easy to talk to. You've got somebody else showing up here who is pretty confusing to talk to. It's almost like they send out smoke signals just to check and see where you are before they're actually going to say anything straight up. So a lot of different aspects happening in communication for you this time around. Next thing that we're looking at is work, and it looks to me like where you may have been partnered up with somebody to get something accomplished or been collaborating with somebody. I think it is coming down to the idea that that collaboration is not really working out, and so everything is sort of falling on your shoulders to complete this or finish this up. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Looks to me like you are really becoming more hopeful about some aspect of your life, and I feel like that hope is sort of feeding into and creating more hope and sort of creating this wonderful cycle in your life where you're starting to see that, oh, maybe this area of my life could work out after all. Okay. Next thing that we're talking about is those things that you stand for, or that thing that you stand for during this time frame, and how somebody else feels about you after you have defended or explained whatever it is that you stand for. So it looks like you had some creative mojo going. You had some creative momentum going with something. You were doing something that made you feel good, and it was also something that probably benefited other people as well. And something has happened that has sort of thrown that off track, probably just temporarily, but has sort of thrown it off track, and so that's kind of hit the back burner until you deal with some other things. And so I think somebody's asked you about that. Maybe they are disappointed because they were expecting you to come through and finish this project or this idea out. And so they see you as somebody who is really making some serious decisions about priorities right now and about what you can have in your life and what you can't have in your life at the moment. All right. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about that lesson or experience that you're having as you go through this particular time frame. It looks to me like you are paying somebody back or paying something off, or if not paying it off completely, at least putting a larger than usual amount towards getting that paid off. So working on paying something off, if not actually paying something off. Next thing that we have showing up talks to me about things that are happening during this time frame, during the time that you're paying something off. It looks to me like you are feeling a little bit sorry for yourself here. There's something that, feels a little bit disappointing about this, and what you're failing to look at is the opportunities that are coming up because you're so focused on the disappointment. So if you catch yourself going into what I call pity party mode, if you catch that energy headed that way, you want to head it off into a different direction because, if you think about it, pity parties are never productive, and they always end up making us feel worse in the end, even though at the time they feel totally justified. They don't really help us. So you want to look for, okay, well, what's the opportunity coming out of this situation? Because there's always an opportunity. Now, at the same time that we're kind of seeing you in pity party mode, and we want you to change that energy, by the way, that's why you get a reading ahead of time, is so that you can change any energy you come up with that you don't like. It looks to me like some of that pity party has to do with this idea of feeling a couple of things, actually. I think you're feeling a little bit left out. And I think part of the reason you're feeling left out is because you have put all your money towards paying this big chunk or paying something off. And now, you know, your belt is a little bit tight because you set that as the priority and you took care of it. So it may be that, you know, your friends want to go out and do something that costs a little bit more money than what you want to spend right now. And so you're feeling a little bit left out because you're feeling like, oh, well, I'm short of cash right now. And you're feeling like that's also isolating you socially as well. Okay. And then where we see you at the end of this month is we see you really, it's interesting. We have you paying something off, and you would think that would make you feel happy. But at the end of the month, we see you really feeling frustrated, like you don't have enough finances. So you want to try to head that off. You want to try to start, you know, being more appreciative of the sacrifice that you made and what that is going to bring you after you've paid this off, what the benefits are that it's going to bring you, so that you can stay out of this pity party, oh, I feel so bad, oh, I feel so broke type of mode, and stay in the look what I did, I just paid off this debt and now I never have to make a payment on it again type of mode. Okay, that's really where you want to go, because if you can do that, that's a more prosperous mindset. And as you set your vibration in that more prosperous way, it actually brings more financial good to you so that, you know, maybe you don't have to skip out on going out with your friends, and maybe you don't have to have that period of feeling broke. So don't do the pity party. Stay positive about what you've done. Congratulate yourself. Let yourself feel like a wealthy person because you've paid this off or paid this down. And let that vibration bring in more abundance for you. Okay, there's an easy, simple solution there. Well, it's not easy, but it's a simple solution. Attitude is only easy with practice. All right, so anyway, that's what you've got there, Capricorns, for the month. Wishing you all the best, my dears. Everybody have a fantastic month, and I'm looking forward to reading for some of you in private readings between now and the next monthly. Peace out.